Hey everybody, Daniel here with another Casual Dude review, and today we're going to be talking about the Omega Seamaster. Now, not just any Seamaster, today we're going to be focusing on the current lineup of the 007 James Bond Seamasters. So obviously this is not a 007 edition Seamaster. This is the Heritage model, which we talked about a few videos back, so if you're interested in seeing this one, go ahead and check my channel. There's a full unboxing video on that. This is a great piece, reminiscent of the original Seamaster. But today, let's focus on why you're here, which is the 007 James Bond edition Seamasters that are currently available right now. Now, the James Bond Seamaster goes back quite a bit. The partnership between Omega and the 007 franchise started in the Brosnan era. And so we're going to go ahead and pull forward to now. And again, these are two currently available SKUs. And so we're going to be focusing on these two today. And we're going to talk about a little bit about the watches. We're going to review all sides of it, the things I like about them, the things I don't necessarily like about them, which one I prefer. And we're also going to show what kind of boxes and presentation that they came in as well. So the first one we'll talk about, just because it was the one that had released first, is the No Time to Die edition Seamaster. This has got a great color scheme on it. It's very unique. It's the only one in my case that looks like this, where we have a little bit of this brown tone and kind of this fake patina going around here, but it just works. This is the first Seamaster that I had on a mesh bracelet, and I was a little bit hesitant at first, and I have to say it's extremely comfortable. One of the things that I kind of am not a huge fan of is how it stacks at the bottom here, because it does create a little bit of a bulk under the wrist, but honestly, when you're wearing it, you don't even feel it. I think one of the reasons this works so well is also because this is titanium. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is a grade 2 titanium, which means that it's strong and it's light, but it will still scratch. It's not a higher grade titanium. Kind of wish they did that, especially at the price point. But what's nice is you can find these on the secondary market, brand new for under retail, which is pretty nice. And this is such a unique watch. It's pretty neat. Now the icon here is something that actually has to be requested by the British government. You can't just use that on a commercial product without requesting permission there. But all in all, there's not too much James Bond branding on here. And so we see the Diver 300 meter there. We do see the 007 logo there at the bottom, right over here on the case back. And we also see reference to it here. And so other than that, I mean, this is a watch that you can wear around without really paying any tribute to the 007 brand while you're wearing it. And you would be the only one in the know, aside from other Bond or watch enthusiasts. Now, as you can see, it's already started to wind. One thing I really like about the Omega automatic movements is that you can shake the watch a little bit and it's going to start telling time. And so this one we don't have to wind up for the sake of this video, but you can kind of see it. Now it does hold the same type of form as all the other 300 divers that are on the market, but you can only get this color scheme with the bezel and, you know, the fake patina and on a mesh bracelet like this directly from the store in this edition. And so I like it. It's got kind of the semi-lollipop hand there with a, a painted red piece that extends past where the lollipop would have ended. And so just a beautiful watch, really light, and I really like it. As you can see here, this is kind of what I'm talking about with the stacking. So the clasp folds over itself. This is fully adjustable, which I do like on the Omega mesh bracelets. Let's see, I think it's trapped here. There we go. And so what's nice is you can kind of size it yourself. As I mentioned, due to the titanium, it's super light. It's very flexible, and it's one of the most comfortable watches that I own, actually. Now, this is a watch that I wear pretty often just because I like the look of it. It's extremely unique. And we'll go ahead and get that clasp out here. You can kind of see what it looks like there. So again, for those wondering, I do have a 7 3/4 inch wrist, and so it fits just right. It's really nice. Now, of course, if you don't want to pay for the branding, you can get a 300 diver with various other colors like blue, black, white. And I know the bracelet is a bit divisive, so you can get it on the standard 300 diver bracelet, or you can even get it on a rubber. But for the Bond edition, comes with the bracelet, and you can actually get it on a NATO as well. And I opted to get it on the bracelet. And then I bought the NATO later, and I love NATOs. I know not everybody loves NATOs, but it was really comfortable. But I actually went back to the bracelet, so I prefer it on the bracelet. I think it looks great, feels great, super comfortable, very lightweight, and such a unique presentation here. It's not like any of the watches I have in my collection. So this one actually gets quite a bit of wrist time. I love this watch. I think it looks great. I think it looks rugged, and the whole bezel looms, and the dial does as well. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a night shot with the black light in a second, but yeah, it's absolutely a beautiful watch. And so we're gonna go ahead and talk about this one a little bit more later. And let's talk a little bit about the Blue Dial 60th anniversary watch. Go ahead and take this one off. Fold that back up. Now the Blue Dial 60th anniversary has a couple of cool features to it. First thing you'll notice with both of the watches actually, that there's no date. So the 300 diver does have a date window. Neither of these do. I'm personally fine with it. I typically don't like wearing watches with complications, including a date, just because every time I let it wind down, it's just an extra thing I have to set, and I really don't reference it that often. So between my Datejust and my presidential and my GMTs and all that, if I want a date, I'll wear a watch that has a date on it. These two, and even watches like the Submariner no date, I just love how clean it looks. There's nothing taking up real estate on the dial, nice and clean. That's what we have here. So we do have a similar folding clasp here that we do on the No Time to Die edition. And this is stainless though, so it is a little bit heavier. This watch I don't wear that often because honestly, if I wanted a Blue Diver, I would have just got one for like half the price. I believe retail on this right now is $10,000. I did buy this because I'm a huge fan of the franchise, and this just is such a cool collectible piece, and we'll go ahead and show you why. So we'll take it off. Like I said, a lot heavier than the No Time to Die because it's stainless, and you can actually feel that when you hold it. But one of the things I love about this, so a couple of the differences here is you'll see the 60 at the 12 o'clock marker, and that is in reference to the 60 years of the James Bond franchise, which this is in celebration of. And another thing I really like about this as a fan of the franchise is the box that it came in, and one more little Easter egg that I'm going to show you here. So again, not a lot of 007 references on the dial, on the face, or anywhere. So you can absolutely wear this as a Seamaster without advertising your fandom of the 007 franchise. And so it is a kind of a cool conversation piece when you do bring it up. Like I said, the 60 at the top here, that's not something that is typical on the 300 divers. You can see that we have, this is what you would typically see at the 12 o'clock hour on a typical 300 diver. But this has the 60 in reference to how many years the franchise has been around. But this is my favorite part. And so before I show it to you, I should wind it here. So let's go ahead and unscrew the crown, break the seal, so to say, and then we're going to wind it up a little bit just so we get it moving. There we go. Another thing you might notice is that the lollipop second hand on this one goes all the way to the numbers. I've seen some people kind of complain about that. I personally like it. I think it's unique. I like the way that the lollipop swings around the numbers. It is almost reminiscent of the opening of the Bond movies with the circles, but this is by far the coolest feature, and that this has an animated case back. Let's see if I can get like really up close here. And so you can see the movement there. It is an exhibition dial, or exhibition case back, and trying to show you here, but it is Bond walking in on the gun barrel sequence from the films. And so it's really tough to catch on camera here, but we'll try to steady it up as much as we can. And the movement creates this really cool animation where you can see kind of, you know, Bond walking in there. We'll give it a second. Hopefully you all see that by now. So he's walking in from the right, and then he does the pose where he's basically shooting at the fourth wall down the barrel of the gun. And so we also have some more references to the circle opening scenes here, very kind of mid-century style. We have the Diver 300 up here, and then we do have the 60th anniversary logo here. So you got 60 and 007 closely in there. What's also cool is that it does have screws around the case back, and so it it almost feels like a porthole or something, but it also creates that extra ruggedness. So we'll put this on the wrist, show you what it looks like, and then what we're going to do is talk about presentation. Let's focus back in there. There we go. So very cool. Beautiful piece. Would I recommend it if you weren't a Bond fan? Probably not. This is something I keep as a collector more than a watch enthusiast. So it's kind of the overlap between being a watch enthusiast and being a fan of the 007 franchise. If you're just looking for a blue Seamaster, this is still a gorgeous piece, but I personally wouldn't spend the money on this if you just wanted a standard blue 300 diver. So let's take that off. Now my wrist is just big enough to where, I'll show you here in a second. My wrist is just big enough. Again, so this is resizable. You can do this on your own, very easy to do. But where the strap or bracelet comes right up against kind of this point in the clasp. And so sometimes it's a little bit hard to open. Sometimes I have to push this up to get it in there. And so that's really only typical of my sizing. That's not really a design issue or anything like that. But again, here it is. And then here we have them side by side. Both beautiful watches. Now, quickly before we get into presentation, I will say that if you're looking for something unique and something that you'll wear as a daily, I know people who have a one watch collection and this would be it. Again, it is a little on the pricey side. It is titanium, and of course, anytime you use like a license or you're paying homage to a franchise, Omega is probably paying a little bit more for that, and they are definitely passing that on to the customer. Both watches, other than that, are pretty similar in style. They both are 300 divers at the end of the day. They both have the helium escape valve as well. I know that's been a little bit of a divisive point for the 300 divers, but I love both of these as a Bond fan. And the No Time to Die definitely gets a little bit more wrist time than the 60th anniversary edition. What's also cool about this is that apparently Daniel Craig was very involved in the design and promotion of this watch. So very cool little piece there. And as a Bond fan, spanning back to Sean Connery, I think it was pretty cool how Daniel Craig went from, probably one of the most disliked people to being Bonds to actually being pretty acclaimed as a Bond. So, a lot of people didn't like the casting choice. And not only did he become the face of the franchise over the past 10 years, but he's very involved in some of the licensing and partnerships. And so a lot of involvement with this one. Now let's talk about presentation. Now, the one thing that I think the No Time to Die lacks on is presentation. So let's wipe some dust off this. It's been sitting in a closet for a while. So still very cool. Very on brand for the Bond franchise, but the No Time to Die watch comes with this canvas wrap. Very cool. It's got a waxy feel to it. It takes on, impressions if you scratch it or anything like that. I don't know if it's a wax canvas. It kind of feels like it. And then you have these straps that go all the way around. This is for holding your warranty card and your I think an Omega comes with 3 different cards. So your warranty, your master chronometer, things like that, you'd be able to kind of slide them in here. And then it opens up almost like a field kit. And so the watch is open, it's laid down in here. This actually fits a spring bar removal tool. I don't have one with me here. I have it in the other room, so I'm not going to get that for the sake of this video. And then it also has this little pouch which you put the instruction manual, anything like that. I did mention that you can also get this watch if you want to save a little bit of money on NATO. And so I do have the NATO strap for that. What's cool about this is it does have a little bit of the Bond branding here. So you do have the 007 logo right there. And yeah, it looks great on this piece. I mean, the color just matches so well with it. I'll show you here. And so both configurations are available. I do prefer it on the bracelet. I actually find the bracelet more comfortable because it's not so top heavy, but it's almost just as light. The titanium really does the work on the lightness there. And so I like to keep the strap just kind of tucked away in here. And then you go ahead and fold it back up. these would just push right into there and lock it up, hold it tight. So very cool, very on brand, but I think when you're spending like $9,000-$10,000 on a watch, I would have loved to get a watch box and maybe even a travel case, which I think Omega does pretty well. And so we'll put that back there, top back on, and now we'll talk about the presentation on the 60th anniversary watch. And here you go. Now, in this case, let's raise the camera a little bit and give it some room here. So in this case, when I got the call to pick up this watch, I actually had the watch just come in the coffin. If you don't know what the coffin is, it's usually just a cardboard or plastic box with styrofoam, and that's how the watches are shipped to Omega, and these are shipped separately. So the watch hasn't even been in this box yet, because I keep it with everything else. But I'll remove the paper. This is where you would normally put the instruction manual and your warranty cards and all that. But this is just such a beautiful box. I know you're getting a little bit of a view of my ceiling fan there. In darker light, you can actually see the wave patterns here. It's really nice. It's like a lacquered box. It's pretty heavy. A little bit smaller than your typical standard Omega box. But here it is. Now, one of the things I like about it is that it's got that James Bond circle pattern again. Very kind of mid-century vibe to it. On the bottom we have just kind of like this felt, so it doesn't scratch either the box or your table or whatever you have this on. And it almost feels like it's kind of got this secret to it where, you know, it's got 3 of these circles, but only one is the button. And so when you push this button, you're able to open the box, and there is the presentation here. So I still have plastic on the box, so yeah, it's kept this thing really new. But you have the Omega 007 logo on the top there, which is really cool. And then you have the wave pattern here. And you also have the 60th 007 logo, 60 years of Bond with the 007 logo embossed into this. And so, you know what, let's go ahead and put the watch in there actually. Let's get the full, are you coming out? Okay, oh, cool. So, we also have it does look like a travel bag here, which is really nice. So it matches the blue, Omega 007 embossed here. I love all the stuff you get with Omega watches, honestly. I think they do it really well. I think Rolex, the brand sells itself so easily that, you know, sometimes they don't give you the benefit of all these extras, things like that. So we'll go ahead and close that back up. Get in there, put that down. And bear with me a sec while I put this all together off camera. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this with the clasp. So we'll fake it, right? There we go. So this is what the whole presentation would look like. Again, we have the Omega 007 logo up here, and then the watch presented down here. So very cool. I absolutely love this piece. It is, like I said, it's more of a collector thing for me than I think, you know, just, I don't think I would spend the money on this watch if it wasn't Bond themed. But it's a great watch. It's pretty heavy, especially after holding No Time to Die. And yeah, I mean, if you're a collector of special editions or you are a collector of Bond memorabilia, anything like that, this is a really cool ode to the 60th anniversary, you know, from a luxury watch retailer. And I really do like it. And again, you know, the case back is super unique. Kind of see it again there. That's actually a pretty good view. I thought you had to see it straight on, but from the side, this is what it looks like. So you see the silhouette walk in and then basically point the gun at the viewer. And so, gorgeous watch. I absolutely love it. I am a big fan of Omega, and I know some people think that some of these partnerships cheapen the brand a little bit, but honestly, I think it sets them apart from the Rolexes and some of the other high-end brands like AP and Patek. All gorgeous watches, all great manufacturers, but you know, there's an element of fun here, and I really like that. I appreciate that, actually. So there we go. Zoom back in here. You can see the wave pattern on the box. It's such a nice box. It's just so on brand, so cool. But so that's what you have to ask yourself. At the end of the day, do you want something that you're going to wear on the daily, or are you a collector and is this just going to end up in a collection and it's hardly going to get wrist time? If you're a Bond fan, I would say, go with the 60th anniversary. It's pretty cool. Now, the thing with the No Time to Die one is that I know a lot of people who are not Bond fans at all, but they just really like the look of the watch. And I don't blame them. It makes a great daily. It's light. It wears well. It's a diver. It's waterproof. It's super practical. And so you're obviously paying for the titanium and you'd be paying for the colorway, which you can't get anywhere else. But, if it's worth it to you, I would definitely go to this one as a daily. Much more so than the 60th anniversary one. This seems to be a popular watch whether you're a Bond fan or not. It's just such a nice piece and it wears super well. And so the question for my followers and my viewers is, which do you prefer? And I'm asking the Omega fans here because I know some people like to get in the comments and say, oh, Omega's cheap. I don't like the helium escape valve, blah, blah, blah. But if you are a fan of Bond and you are a fan of Omega, which one would you prefer? I'd love to know what you think. Does having a really cool presentation box do anything for you? Is it all about the wearability? Is it all about the style? Which style do you like better? And so those are the questions you have to ask. But I had to go with both. Big Bond fan. I don't think I'm going to run and go get my blacklight to show the lume today, but I have to say this thing right here is a lume monster. If you want to see what it looks like, just type in the No Time to Die Omega Diver lume, and I mean you can light up a room with this thing. There is so much going on here, and it's really cool. It's it's got more lume than any of my other watches. This is by far the most lumed watch that I have. So the hands, the markers, the bezel, the whole thing just lights up, and it's pretty cool. You definitely will see it in the dark. So would love your opinion on it. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a longer one. We're talking about two different watches, kind of did two different unboxings. And yeah, I hope you are here. I try to respond to as many comments as you want. I really appreciate all of you following me. I like to just share the things that I like. I know it's not high production value or anything like that, but I'm passionate about watches and I love talking watches with people, and I'm glad that I can share this with all of you. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will like and subscribe to this video, and I hope to be posting more soon. Thank you so much.